Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special Saturday live stream post Trooping the Color because I was there. So it has been a long day so far, but I'm very excited to share with you guys kind of what I observed, what I saw, share with you guys a lot of the pictures that I got. So we'll be scrolling through some of those. I've been in the process of trying to get all the pictures out, but I took a lot of them. Some of them I'm having trouble getting them to move over to Adobe Lighthouse and stuff. So it's a process. It's always a process, but it was so fun. And we saw some unique and sort of interesting things, I feel like, this time. So I thought I would maybe start off this video with just generally telling you what I observed and what I have heard, because that is always sort of a fun way to kind of get everything started. But the first is that when it comes to trooping, my cab driver said this, and somebody else mentioned it on X, and I think it's somewhat true, that the audience for trooping has been okay. Sorry, the blackout spinning wheel of death, but definitely not as busy as the Jubilee or the coronation, which I'm for perfectly fine with, because the coronation was awful. So in some ways, so it was a light crowd this time, but I don't think that's necessarily super bad. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, and I think that could definitely factor into this. Obviously, we had the Air Asia flight that crashed, and then in addition to what's going on between Iran and Israel. So I think there's a lot in the news generally that's maybe keeping people a little bit away at this time. I think it's probably struggled a bit since COVID ended and everything, but that's just something I want to because I know a couple of people had mentioned it. They're like, is it sparser? I think a little bit was, but still those who were there wanted to be there. They were excited to be there. Of course, we did also have the naysayers, the not my king crowd. So I actually, when I was walking in, I could actually see where they were. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get as far away from them as possible. I don't think they're quite as obnoxious as some crowds, but I've been at royal events where there's protesters and it sort of ruins it. So it's like, okay, let me get as far away from them. But what was really cool, guys, the reason I bring that up is that when some people were walking down on the Royal Mile towards Buckingham Palace balcony and they would come across the Not My King crowd, people would boo them. And then we also heard a couple of chants of God Save the King. So this happened actually a couple of times. So I just thought that was very encouraging that the people who are there are the royalists. So very, very nice to see all that come together. We also have, let's see, Lady Louise and the Earl of Wessex. So that's James. We're not in the Trooping the Color this year. So I don't think they'll be back again. I was a little bit sad by that, but that's okay. Also, the weather was gorgeous and amazing. So glad. Because as I was looking through all the pictures, doing research for a video I did yesterday on Catherine's trooping looks, I noticed that last year was the 1 year in years they've had closed top carriages. So I was really excited this year. We're back to no coverage. It was actually great weather. I only truly got hot when I was trying to run down the Royal Mall. So you kind of have to. I did get a little bit of video. So I'm laughing at myself, guys, because when I was running down there, I hadn't had anything to eat really. I had one little pastry, and that was about it. No caffeine and not a lot of water. And as it turns out, I did not have the energy to run. Still got a good spot though, so we will go over all of that. And so, yeah, when it comes to obviously fashion and Catherine, those were some of the kind of preliminary things to get out of the way. She was wearing a Catherine Walker coat dress that I almost thought for a second when I first saw it. And I think it was when I saw a picture of it, maybe before we actually saw it in person. I was actually initially thinking she was re-wearing something of Princess Diana's, because it looks so much like a piece from Princess Diana. Hello Magazine found the actual you could call it an inspiration. It felt very 80s. I was not a fan of this year's look, but I do love the color. So I'm not particularly fond of the style. It hits me as very 80s, but the overall color scheme was lovely. It was lovely to see the kids, because I especially could see Catherine and Charlotte, because they were kind of in the most easily viewed section of the carriage. And, depending on when the carriage is coming and going, what, sort of pictures you get. And I actually ended up with a pretty good spot. I didn't really have any, because sometimes, you'll have police officers who get in your way. Like you'll have multiple levels of things that can get in your way, trees, there's big platforms for the television stuff and everything. I found a good empty space where there was like nothing on either side. And of course, people do crowd in at some point. So you did have to deal with a little bit of that, but I thought overall it was a pretty spectacular day. It was great to see the kids. It's kind of funny because I see them through, I try to look at them with my naked eye a bit, but I'm so concerned about getting pictures. I'm like looking through, but I can see them better looking through the lens of the camera. But there's something to say about seeing them in person. And Jennifer Simmons asked, was Catherine's coat dress new? Yes, it was. And I feel like we're seeing all the kids grow up and mature quite a bit. And I was looking at especially the balcony pictures are the best because you get the most, you could say, interaction with those. And so I had my camera trained up there quite a bit. And I got some really amazing pictures. So we'll go over that. And so, yeah, Azima says, asks, how was your trooping experience? It was good. It was good. I love the fact that it was great weather. It's actually pretty hot today, to be quite honest. And so I'm so glad that we were able to that we had this good weather, because it does make it very fun. We don't have to worry about there'll be a limited Flypast or slipping in the rain or something like that. And for me, of course, my camera stuff is what I worry about. Thankfully, again, nothing like that happened. So we did have a little bit of an amendment, as Carol says here, with the black armbands for those who were lost in the Air Asia accident, because, Air India, Air India. And that's because about 50 plus of them were British citizens. So it's a pretty, obviously huge tragedy. And then we all have what is going on in the Middle East as well. So, and Charlotte and Catherine matched. So I really love that. I would have loved it if, I think the boys were matching their dad, but it would have been great to see the boys in one of the boys in a turquoise tie. That would be cool, because I feel like they do red pretty much every year. So this would have been a fun little kind of change up. But I thought we would go, because I've been going through them and showing you guys some of the pictures from the balcony and when they were coming back. So I have some pictures going forwards, but still kind of trying to get through my pictures of them coming back. And I was really hoping, because the first time around, for some reason, none of my pictures of Sophie turned out. And I was really disappointed by that. And so this time I'm hoping, I hope they're better. The Sophie ones are better this year. We got some of Charles and everything. Although we should have more. Sorry, my camera is not everything's not translating as well as everything else. So let's go over here, and we got Charles and Camilla. So both looking pretty dapper here on the way back to the palace. And so it's just looking absolutely gorgeous. And so you can see I take a lot of pictures at once. So you can see all the little details and everything. So these are just so fun, I feel like, to go through with everyone. And so get all those little distracting things out of the way. And somebody asked here, Faith says, in the mall, did you know about the minute of silence that was held at the parade? Yes, we were told about it. But I will say, I remember them mentioning it, but then I don't really remember much after that, to be honest. I don't really remember if they were saying, yes, it started or whatever. And yeah. Okay, so Janine noticed, I noticed Catherine's dress matched William's band when they were on the balcony. Sophie and Edward matched too. Yes, they were definitely 100% matching. And so you will get pictures that are a little bit blurrier, but these are just fun to see everybody on their way back and trying to get the best shots of their majesties. And so this is a cool one, because we can see William up here. This is Edward. And then we have, I feel like I'm missing one of the other gentlemen, and then Anne. Maybe not, because it would just be William, Edward, and Anne. So they're all here together, which I think is really really, really quite sweet. So nice to see all of them together. We have Alienated says, myself from India. Some of the doctors I knew got injured when India flight crashed on top of the medical university. Oh, that's so sad. I'm hoping everybody's doing well and recovering. That's, something that's just terrible that you can never plan. It's just awful. So, and then we have obviously all the gentlemen there. We can see a little bit of Camilla's, not totally her brooch here, but I do like the white here. I think she looked pretty good in it. And of course, they're not always smiling exactly like you want to. It's kind of funny because they're walking backwards, and I don't know why the pictures are doing it this way, but we will go with it. So the marching bands, though, always fun, guys. Always fun to have the marching bands. And these horses with the drums, I love it. I love it. Every time I see it, they are so, so fun. And I just am amazed that these guys ride with these huge horses. And I can't remember what somebody mentioned one time what they were called. And so I did take a picture of the bus. So in case you're wondering what this was, I can't really even tell who this person is. So this bus came back, and actually another kind of different thing to note this year is that the Duke of Kent did not go in a carriage and instead went in a car. So we shall see him here in a second. So this was kind of a big departure for him. Usually he arrives in a what? In the carriage. So he was in the carriage last year. And so that he's in his 90s now, so it's understandable, but just something to know. As well, we got Diz Fan. Thank you so much for the super chat. Happy Trooping Day. Love seeing the royal family out and continuing on her late majesty's legacy. The Wales' children are growing up. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It's crazy to see how much they've grown. So exciting, though, as well. And then Peggy asks, is that Princess Catherine's mom? Like, I don't think so. I don't think this is Carol Middleton. I think she did have dark hair. So I just photographed this because they came back with the car that was taking the Duke of Kent. So I thought they might be royals. Like they do take royals in these kind of buses, but I don't really think it's that anymore. And somebody says that is Zara. It could definitely be Zara, but I think if I remember correctly, the woman had dark hair. So that's my only hesitation, is that I don't remember her. I remember her in particular, and I remember clocking that she had dark hair. So that doesn't come quite as through in this picture, but that's at least visually what I remember. And so Michelle says, hi, all. Sorry, late to seeing my dad. So watching Trooping at his place. Did you get a good spot? I did. So I got kind of a midsection spot, which is kind of what I wanted. I could have gone further down, and I actually filmed like a little bit when I first got there. And I mentioned the fact that they backload. They go from the back to the front. So it was actually funny because I have a little video. We may try to pull it up here and see how it turned out. But because I wanted to show what it's like to actually run up to the balcony. Because we had about like 6 to 8 minutes or something. No, more like 8 minutes. So one time I finally checked my phone, I was like 8 minutes till. And so you're like trying to get down there, and I still felt like I was pretty far away. And so I'll sleep well tonight. That's all I got to say. Anyways. So I picked a mid spot, but I actually went further back. So people were coming front ways towards the palace before they opened the mid street, and I went back. And it was funny because you could actually see all these people crowded at the front. So right, I was around as it like the Royal Mall goes down and then it curves out like this in a circle. So it's funny because I can see like people like 6 to 10 deep waiting to go out there. And it's like, I'm passing them. And I'm like, yep, that's why you go to the back, not the front. You don't go to the front, you go to the back. So that's just something to keep in mind if you ever go to trooping. So since we don't know who this is, but she was waving. So I was like, well, I'll just take her picture in case maybe we figure it out later. But I'm pretty sure she had dark hair, but otherwise, what else are you supposed to do? So in here, you can't really see him, to be quite honest, but in here was the Duke of Kent. So I knew it earlier because I took pictures as they came by. And so I like looked in later, was sure it was the Duke of Kent. And so Water says, who was on the balcony? We are almost going to get there. we're almost going to get there. And so Alienated asks, Brittany, what time did you secure your spot? Were other journalists already there? So I did actually see another journalist across the street. He had a better, let's say, setup than I did, had somebody else helping him, had a live stream going, it seemed like. And so, but it was like probably actual news outlets, not, me and what I do. But I will say that I got there at 8. They don't go down to the horse guard until a little bit before 11, and then they come back at about 12:20, and then like you have to wait a while, and then they get up to the balcony. So there were definitely, I'm sure, other journalists there too, and I saw a lot of people with big cameras running down. Some of them, I'm sure it was like their own personal thing. Other people probably were probably press. So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, it's like a lot. And you have to get there early. You just do. If you think you're going to get there too early, still get there like 30 minutes before that. And yes, so like I didn't have anything to drink really. I ate my little snack, which I think is why I couldn't run. Or maybe I'm just super duper out of shape or just really tired. It could be all those things mixed together. Probably out of shape is the most accurate, but we went down there. So anyways, so we have, and I got actually a better picture of them going to the event than I got coming back. But there's the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. So you'll see some in focus, some out of focus again, still trying to, how should I say this? Trying to really figure out my camera. So we do have Sophie here. We have a couple where she was pretty in focus, like right there, but she wasn't looking at us, unfortunately. So let's see if we can get further back here. And there's obviously Sir Timothy Lawrence. So if you zoom in here, you can get some pretty good detail of the outfit and everything. The jewelry, obviously the hand is a little bit in motion, but you can see the hat really well. And Sir Timothy Lawrence too. And so he's looking in our direction. Oh, and there she goes. That's a pretty good. I'll take that. I'll take this one. Not as in focus as I would like it to be, but I'll take this one. I'll take this one. All right, Diz Fan, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, did you notice the Wales is matching up with William? I love the detail puts in mind Catherine's colors in 2023 as a tribute to Queen E. Yes. And yeah, the boys definitely matched their dads. They both had bright red ties. And obviously Charlotte was matching her mom. And definitely, guys, we'll get there in just a second. So I do love this color on Sophie. I think it's actually a really nice color. Okay. Well, her hand's kind of in her face. Ugh. Like some of the best ones, her hand's in her face. Anyways, so really good to, oops. I don't know where I went. Really good to see everyone. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was just like, where did everything go? Okay, so let's say Neely 7. Thank you so much for the super chat. Ask, hey Brittany, happy trooping. Are you using the tube to get around London? Yes. So I generally use the tube. I like using the tube. I usually choose hotels that are close to tube stations. And yeah, that's how I got there this morning. So I was a little worried. Obviously, I think for the coronation, I imagine that Green Park would have been closed, the station. Because they had every actually metro closed around Buckingham Palace. Like all of them were closed. And that was a nightmare. But Green Park was open this morning. So that's the station you could say closest to Buckingham Palace. I mean, you can go to Victoria Station, but that's a longer walk. Like there's a St. James's Park station. That's another option. But I went to Green Park. And so you actually come in through the park. And so you walk down. Now when I walked to the balcony this time, I went to the left instead of the right. I usually go to the right, but I was on the left-hand side. And I was like, I feel like I mostly go to the right. Maybe that's what a lot of people do. So I'll go to the left. Don't know either way. But Yeah, so I went to the left, and so I went towards Victoria Station. I did take it, like, a minute to kinda decompress, let some of the crowd like, I finally found a kind of a quiet place to sit and stuff and repack my things. Because literally, like, the Met was trying to move us out, and I had my bag on the ground, and I was, like, trying to repack and stuff, and they're, like, trying to move it along, and I felt like, "Ugh, this American who's such a mess," and I also had to take my sweatshirt off because I was, like, sweating buckets at that point. So, yes, tube to get around London. I find it to be the easiest, although any London people or UK people out here who knows the answer to this question, I would be very curious. Why is the Bakerloo line, why is that train always have graffiti in it? I feel like I don't see that on other trains but the Bakerloo one, and I don't know why. So anyways, the Bakerloo line trains. So anyways, guys, that's an interesting question. Carol says Sophie was beautiful also. She was, she was. And Kyle says Holly Henry George is going to be tall like his dad. Yeah, I can't wait to see how tall he is. I'm really excited. Really excited. Yeah, so it looks like whites and teals and blues were the things today. Although I will say Sophie was pretty solidly green. So I don't know. Michelle says, how many photos did you get? Thousands. Yeah. I go there and I just hold the button down. And not totally. Sometimes I tried to frame one picture today because I saw the big standard flying and you could actually see the planes going over the palace. And I was hoping I could get a shot with the plane behind the palace and the royal family on the balcony and stuff, but I was too close and my lens just got me a bit too close. So I couldn't I needed a wider angle lens, just a little bit of one. But I didn't set up my other camera. So that was a loss. But oh well. Bunty says William wore a darker green for the Welsh guards who are taking the color today. Yeah. Where were all the crowds? Spoke 76 as. They were in quite a few places, but yeah, there were definitely crowds there, guys. And I feel like though I heard a lot of Americans, but not totally. There was at least one group of looks like young families of Americans that are talking about, well, this is how we go. Wait. So I thought that was kind of crazy. Jennifer says, I know I already said this both on X and here. I love the pics from this. Very well done. So exciting. We need some happy right now. Why, thank you. I'm so glad I could share like both the good and the bad pictures because I don't get all good pictures. And I imagine this is the same true for most of the royal photographers as well. Like you see the good ones. I'm sure there are many that don't make it. So that's just my thought. Although I may be just saying that to make myself feel better. Palm says, welcome to Sir Khan's London. Graffiti is just the smallest issue. I know it's the smallest issue, but it's so weird to me that I don't see it on other trains, but always the Bakerloo line. And I was like, where does the Bakerloo line go to? Yeah, that's my question. Julie says, it might be the Bakerloo. That spot is depot is less secure. I imagine the graffiti when trains parked up at night. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. So I was just curious and to know. Yeah. Heather asked, what do you think of Sophie's hat? So I'm not a fan. I've said this before, guys. I'm not a fan of pillbox hats. This is not like the worst offender. So it's not the worst I've seen. So it's not totally all that bad. Okay, this picture didn't. I might have seen this one earlier, but this one didn't turn out too bad. Anyways, not my favorite, but I do like the color. I like this green here. Asma says they're all wearing the same color. I thought that was not allowed. Yeah, they could definitely wear different colors. There's not one there for sure. And Cheryl T in Oklahoma, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, great work, Brittany. Glad you could go. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. And yeah, it's just, it is a lot of work. And I was really annoyed today because I had somebody on X saying that I was just clickbaiting people and farming engagement. And I was like, I could do that without traveling all the way to the UK. I do this because I love it. I think it's so cool and I enjoy it. And I like having my own cache of images. And yeah, it's challenging though. It's tiring to get up super early, walk down there. Like my pack probably weighed like 30 pounds, 30 to 40 pounds, I would guess. So I had my gimbal, 2 cameras, 2 lenses, and both the heavy lenses. So these are not light lenses. But again, so fun. So fun. Although running down the mile was not fun. Water says that is true. I've studied with wedding photographer. They take thousands of photos. Only a few are great. Yeah. Yeah. I always see the great photographer ones. I'm like, how do they do that? And I was like, but they have, I'm sure, editing things. Like right now would be awesome if I could just send like all the pictures off to somebody to choose which were the best ones, edit certain ones or whatever. So you get the best thing. Catwoman says, my daughter is a photographer as well. She uses Canon camera and lenses. What do you use? I use Canon. So it's not like a particular loyalty you could say, but my parents had Canon cameras and that's what I started off with. And so I got more Canon cameras. I mean, I've heard the Sony ones are really, really good. I think Nikon and Canon are kind of samesies in a lot of ways, but I've heard the Sony ones are really good. But I have Canon and I've invested in Canon, so like I'm not going to get anything else. So Leslie said, do we know the designer of Sophie's dress? It's Beulah London. So, and we have Lisa Harvey. 0208 says, thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, Brittany. As a tube driver on the pick line, I can assure you graffiti not only on the Bakerloo line. Why, thank you so much. I'm so glad all that you do here in London because I do love taking the tube. Like I wish although it's hard when it's hot, but I would love to be able to like walk everywhere in my city. It's just hard to do that in the United States. That's just something we don't get to do too often. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sure it's on other lines. I always see it on Bakerloo. I don't know why. Kyle says, great picks. Hope you're having a good time. Well, thank you so much, Kyle, and for the super chat. That I really do appreciate it. And Peggy Spungen says, some beautiful photos, Brittany. Are you doing a meetup with Dan and Taz while you're here? So, or while you're there. So, I think Dan's not in town. And I didn't arrange something with Taz. This is sort of like a shorter trip. And so I was just like, just going to hit the highlights with going to trooping and then going back home. So that's kind of my plan. I was hoping that maybe there was be an engagement I could go to sometime during the week, but that just didn't end up happening. I was thinking about going to the christening of Princess Anne's in Sweden. But like when I was really researching it and stuff, it didn't seem like it was going to be worthwhile. You know, you only probably see them for like at the most 15 minutes. It seemed like a lot of money and time to go over and to just get 15 minutes and then go home, like go back to London. So I was like, eh. Andrea says she likes Sophie's earrings. Gina says, great job with the photos. Think that is the strategic move for RNN. You're physically there. Yes, exactly. I like being physically able to be here and cover things as I can. One of the things I mentioned before, but good reminder is I focus more on commentary because I'm generally usually not in the UK to cover events, and the Royal Family Channel, like they get first access to all the videos. You know, you have the Royal Rota, and so there's just not as much, because sometimes there's not as much to commentate on, and sometimes as well, there's just not enough there to do like if I did a report, and I've done those before, and I need to do more of them. I'm basically regurgitating what somebody else has already done. And that feels a little like cheating to me. So I generally don't always love doing it. So, all right, let's keep going. And keep going down here. So I did see this question. Mimi says, serious question that I hope you will finally address. I feel like you always seem to find something wrong with Catherine. Why can't you just speak on her without always having to criticize her for something? So, I mean, this is just a good reminder. I'm an equal opportunity critic. I criticize a lot of royals in various ways. And so I don't believe in and subscribe to the notion of never criticizing someone. And if I don't like an outfit, I don't like an outfit. I'm not going to like it just because I feel like you have to say you love an outfit every single time. Now, would it end up on the worst list? I like probably not. It's not the worst thing. It's not the best thing. And I'm not a fan of 80s fashion. It felt very 80s to me. But overall, guys, I like to be honest in my thoughts and not be somebody who is worried about the kind of crowd who's just like unbelievably passionate about Catherine and William and can't hear any criticism on them. I think it's important to be able to criticize people. If you can't, you kind of worship them. So that's not something I'm interested in. So I hope that answers that question. And we have Renee. Thank you so much. Texas Kit Kat. And Kyle says, they say if a pro photographer gets one great pick a roll, they're doing a good job. Well, we do have digital now, so you can get a lot of pictures. But good question. Good question. So let's see Alienated says, "Aw, thank you, Brittany, for taking these videos. I can imagine you running down with your equipment, setting them, adjusting them on a hot day. You're truly one woman army." I attempt, guys. I look like a hot mess, I can assure you, but I attempt. I try to. I think it's really, really, really cool to be able to do it. So Lizzie says, "Hi, Ms. Brittany. It's Princess Ions. Ions. Oh gosh, the last part of her name pronounced as Beyonce. I say, I'm never gonna get it. Somebody's gonna have to tell me it like 50 times to be clear. Aw, Heather Cranford says, "We appreciate your honesty, Brittany. I think you're fair in your assessments." Why, thank you. I try to be fair. Not everybody's gonna love it, but again, guys, I really always want to be somebody who's not afraid to say, I don't like something, even if everybody says I like it. Sometimes you don't like it. That's fine. That's totally life. And so let's keep going here because I want to get to the big reason we're all here, which is Kate and the kids. So let's get here. Okay. So I don't know why this is going backwards. Ooh. So this is when these are so cool because this is the guns they do with the 21 gun salute. So that's there. Okay. So again, somehow this is in backwards order. So this is them going back inside. Well, yeah, this is them going back inside. So we can see Edward right here in the green. And I've been in that room. There's actually a really cool chandelier you can kind of see right here. I was really hoping to see that more in person, but I didn't get into the center. They usually actually leave, I want to say they leave the center. Well, they kind of leave the center open. And they kind of, as well, like photographers get that shot and stuff, but there is a chandelier here. I was there last year. This balcony is actually very small. So, and I love this little Louis. He could not stop waving, so he had to give us one final wave. And I remember seeing that through my camera lens, and I'm like, oh, like, I hope I get it. And I did get it. So that was very, very exciting. And so this got kind of hard, guys, just to kind of be transparent, because sometimes it is like, I had my monopod, which helps me balance the lens because the lens is heavy, the camera's heavy, and then I also had my phone recording on top of it. So I had a lot of equipment going on at the same time, and goodness, it didn't always go super well, and it's just like there were too many people. It was like it just felt very rushed and crazy. So anyways, there's Louis giving his little wave. And I like how Charlotte gives a look back too as they're walking in. So I kind of love that. We see everyone go in. There was a sweet moment between Catherine and the Duke of Kent. So you can see these are a little less crisp, but some of them get crisper over time. So we have Catherine moving along Princess Charlotte here. We have Anne and Tim and the Duke of Kent there as well. And then if you're wondering who on the balcony, somebody was asking, obviously we have Camilla and Charles, and then Edward, Sophie, and the Gloucesters, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. So this is a feature of the balcony. I do think it's kind of a little bit sadder. Oh, Louis doing a wave again. He like wanted to wave. Like Louis was like, I want to wave. Like, let me wave. They're all here to see me, right? He's not thinking that, I'm sure, but he's like, but I want to wave to them. So we can get a little bit of a better view of Charlotte's dress. And apparently this brooch belonged to the Queen Mother, it sounds like. Somebody was mentioning that on X. I haven't done the research of that myself, but that's something interesting to note too. And so you'll get a picture here. Aw, little mother-daughter moment. Seems like they're smiling to each other. At least from the back of Charlotte's head, it looks like she's smiling. So you can get a good picture of the family here. And this is when I think they were singing God Save the King. Obviously, we do have Charles here as well. Yeah, I feel like the last couple of years have been hard on Charles. And then we can even see Camilla's jewelry here, which is pretty impressive. So the lighting's a little bit better in this one, a little bit crisper. So we got good images here, some good, some bad. But You'll notice I'm going up and down, and that's because the camera's heavy. So this gives you an idea of how far back I was. So I did a bit of a wide shot. I could see them like pretty well, couldn't see any details like with my naked eye. And so like this path in front of us, you can see the bobbies, the top of the bobby heads, they're like holding the line. So there's actually nobody in the middle here. So that's just something to be aware of. And then you can zoom in and they come through pretty well. So let's see if you can see anything. So I would move the camera around based on things, hoping to find a good shot. That turned out pretty well. It's amazing the camera technology now. You get such, I mean, I have a 100 to 500 lens, so it's a pretty big lens, but still get some pretty good shots. It's amazing to me too to see like how much more grown up the kids are compared to when we first saw them all together on the what are we doing? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I totally lost it. Never mind. Sorry. I got busy reading. Lisa saying, "Hey, Brittany, if you're out and about in London using the tube, how about a cab ride with air conditioning? I'm working this evening." Well, thank you, Lisa. I like don't mind at all going on the taxi. Like I would always say, guys, the black cab taxis in London are fabulous, but I will probably honestly go to bed early tonight. I'm still really tired. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, and Charlotte is wearing the quintessential Tiffany blue. She is, she is. Yeah, Silver Snow says, "Once those kids are in their 20s, they'll take the world by storm. Paparazzi won't leave them alone on social media. Heck, I've already seen fan edits and fan pages about them." So here's oh my gosh, and there was something kind of creepy, and I wanna say I felt like this was a little creepy. So there was a guy, and he was, like, trying to, like, stand behind me or something, and this other guy, and he either asked or told us who his favorite royal was, and he said Princess Charlotte, and I was like, "Oh, that's a little weird. That's a little weird." But because he was a grown man, favorite royal is Princess Charlotte, little odd to me. Anyways, but what I will say though is that when it comes to like the Wales as kids, yes, right now I think there is a bit of you could say somewhat of a slump in the attendance of Trooping the Color. I think it somewhat goes back to the fact that we don't get a full balcony. I hate to say it, but I do think that factors in that you don't get to see everybody, that you only see a small cadre of the same people. Granted, we saw the same people every year on the balcony, but you had different kids and different relatives, and some were there and some were not there. All that to say that I don't think it would be bad to have a full balcony back. But here's the other thing. The trooping is, let's say, a little bit in a lull right now, but that'll all change in a couple years once the three of them are in their teenagehood. George, there will be thousands, guys, of screaming girls when George is, getting to that age. Getting to that age, there'll be thousands of screaming girls there, 150%. Charlotte will have girls who like want to emulate her. Girls will want to date George and Louis. And so there'll be a huge, I think, crush of people once the three Wales as kids come of age. So that'll be what we're doing. So Freya asks, "Why is Edward wearing the thistle sash instead of the garter sash? I can't talk. I honestly don't know. That might have been just the regiment. So yeah, I'm not sure. So Azabeth says, "Is Prince George going to Eton?" I do not know. I do not know. So, and I did say as well, I think I saw as well, and I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I think somehow I missed it or something. Lizzie, oh, no, that's the wrong button. Lizzie B gifted one Royal News Network membership. So thank you so much, Lizzie. I have other pieces to share with you guys later today. So I might work on a little bit of that this evening, which I realize is rather boring, but it's been a long day. My alarm clock went off at 6 a.m. So I definitely didn't get out of bed at that time, but definitely started moving. And yeah. But yeah, definitely good. So Water says, "Do you think that they will get George involved in events sooner than William because of the lack of young royals? Like they'll kind of sort of have to." And I've talked about this before, and I know people have mixed feelings about this, but to be honest, like William had a very slow entry into full-time royal life, so did Catherine. And their kids, I mean, I imagine William wants to have the same for his kids, but to be quite honest, I don't know if they'll get that luxury. It was a luxury when Will was the heir, and it was like really like they didn't need somebody right there, but like they desperately need some younger royals. Yeah. Uh, Olga says, Olga Garcia says, how wonderful would it be to see more kids on the balcony, wondering if the cosplay couple has any regrets about how much their kids are missing. Well, Megan thought this was all like ridiculous and silly if she wasn't queen. So yeah. She still doesn't seem to like appreciate the uniqueness of this. I don't know. So yeah, Kyle says, why are they wearing black armbands? So that's for the Air India flight because there were a lot of British citizens on that flight. So Max Mama says, I believe they want George to go to Marlborough College like Catherine did. So yeah, there's been some definite talk. They have toured Eton. We do know that. I imagine Marlborough is on the docket as well. So let's keep going through some of the pictures here. And I like it when you can see that they're talking and some are looking up. Oh man, the Duke of Kent, he is not looking super well. So he was the only one, I think, on this balcony besides Charles who was at the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. And he actually could be in it. This is a cute picture of Sophie right here. Oh, she looks so cute. She looks so cute. She looks so cute. Ah, nice picture of the lamppost. Yeah. Yeah, Gorilla BFF says, right, I'm sure if she was queen, she would be all about royalty and the monarchy. 100%, yes. So Renee says, do you think they slimmed the balcony because of her Harry and Meghan or because King Charles slimmed down monarchy or both? So it's kind of hard to say for sure. And it's just hard to say for sure because we also have COVID coming into play as well. So the last normal trooping was in 2019. And then we missed two. And the next one was 2022. By that point, Harry and Meghan have left. Andrew's had his troubles. And so it would made sense in the moment somewhat to highlight the there we go. Sorry, we had the spinning black screen of death there for a second. So my hotel internet is not the bestest in the world. So, and then this is a good picture of everyone. We got Louis and King Charles having a little moment there. Louis and King Charles for sure. Anyway, I think we can see, yeah, so Louis's front teeth are growing in case you were curious. And so we seem to be having some sort of like little family discussion here real quick. But I love Charlotte's dress. Charlotte's dress is so pretty and dainty. Love it. And there was some funny pictures of George. Like you can see his teenagehood coming in here. I feel like a little bit. I feel like we're definitely seeing the teenage George start to pop out a smidge, which is not bad at all. That is part of growing up. It's turned out pretty well. He's going to be a handsome lad, I think. It'll be interesting to see how tall he ends up being and how tall he really is now, because obviously his mom is wearing heels and she could be even taller. So we'll have to see. I just need to find some of the pictures. Oh, so this is when I went profile, guys, and I was trying to get the palette. See, I was trying to get the balcony and the planes in the background. The planes, though, just didn't go right here. They could just have gone right here. We would have all been fine. But yeah. Yeah, it just didn't quite happen that way. But so there we go. Some more. And there was a sweet interaction between Kath. Oh, this was sweet. It catches moments. I'm, always curious what the conversations they're having because it's like it's got to be one of those things where after a while, like it loses its novelty, the trooping, and the Flypast. So I'm sure they're like, what are we doing? Sophie looked nice. I'm not sure about the dress, but the color is lovely. I think the color is lovely. So trying a couple different camera angles, wanted to get everybody who was on the balcony in the shot. That's always important. So everybody looking up, trying to watch the planes. Aw, darn, none of those turned out well. Darn. Ah, Sophie hanging on to her hat. Oops. So looks like father and son were chatting quite a bit. That's why too, I think it would be good to have more people on there, because then if they sort of like, because they see this every year, like, and they just saw this recently too. You just got to wonder as well as like if they had more people on the balcony, it would, I think, be a better like distraction. So at this point, Catherine must have had to sneeze or something, or maybe say something because she covers her mouth a little bit. I'm going to guess sneezing, but I don't actually know. But I just thought that was interesting to note in case you were curious. I do like the hat, though. I do like the hat. And I think she messes with a little bit of Charlotte's hair there, or going up to grab it. It's always funny because you have all these pictures and they just change a little bit. Like you could almost animate them. You almost keep going like this. You can almost see them animate a little bit. Not totally, but a little bit. The kids look cute there, all looking up. A nice little family picture. Somewhat. It's hard too because it's like you don't ever sometimes always get people smiling like, oh, I liked George's face here. I thought that was funny. I'm like, what is he doing? Oh man, that's really funny. Yeah. Ocean Cat asks, what age will Charlotte wear a hat? I do not know. I do not know what time, at what point. I mean, I think for the York sisters, it was when they were in their teens. So I imagine post like 16, 17, 18, she would start wearing a hat. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what is her first hat. So, oh, and Carol says Catherine sneezed when she was sitting down to review the troops with King Charles and Queen Camilla. And Leslie says Catherine is reportedly allergic to horses. Yes, I've heard that as well. Probably a little bit too. So, and we'll keep, oh, lovely shot of the arch there. Excellent camera work, guys. Sorry, I had to have fun with myself a bit. I like this Catherine interacting with the Duke of Kent. I thought that was very sweet. They seem to have like a little bit of a nice dynamic here. So she was interacting with him because she took the he was patron of Wimbledon before she was. So it's nice of her to have a little moment with the Duke there. So nice, sweet moment. Looks like George and Louis are hanging on and chatting too. We can see one of the staffers in the background. And there's another person's face. You can see the background. I don't know why, but I just find like the faces. I'm like, who are you? What are you up to? I want to know. So we have lots, guys, the pictures are the exact same thing. But again, you can kind of see them animate. You can see Catherine going like, wow, or something. Or right, or something like that. That's actually a nice picture of Queen Camilla smiling. Not too bad there. Maybe not as sharp as I want it to be, but I just like tried to as best I can. So it looks like the Duke of Kent was a little bit late to join the party, and we did have a shuffle with the Wales' kids. So George went off to the far over there, and then they switched him and put George in the middle. So in case you are Charlotte putting her hair behind her ears. Oh, she's getting, it's like, it's hard to watch them get so big. I'm like, oh man, where did the time go? I remember when she was coming out of the hospital. It's like, man, I feel old. I feel old. So this is when they were coming out on the balcony here. And it is, again, pretty narrow, especially in those little turnabout areas. So just going to see if we could recognize anybody. I think that just might, oh, there's Anne and Sir Timothy Lawrence. So I was just going to see if there's anybody else. So obviously King Charles gets the first crack at it. So you can see one Door opens, and then as they're coming out there. Ah, finally we get to the carriage pictures. I was like wondering, I was like, where did the carriage pictures go? Okay, so let's go further back here. And so the hat posed a little bit of a problem because it shadowed her face quite a bit. And this person, every single time, guys, when I was about to take a picture of Catherine and the kids, a person on horseback was like right in front of my camera. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, so there we go. The girls in the carriage together. And so you can see not bad, but a little bit of shadowed Catherine. There's probably a way to avoid that. I don't know what that is. But yeah. Ariana says, you have caught the British blush, Brittany. Why, thank you. I don't know what that means. Is that me? I'm actually using the light in the hotel room and reflecting it off the mirror to give me light. If anybody's curious. Anybody's curious. So we have Catherine and Charlotte here. They're waving at that side. I think I got them better coming out. So they sometimes all look the same, like kind of the same way. But I feel like this was different too, because usually Charlotte is not all the time, but usually all the kids are together on one side. Although Catherine and Camilla have gone in the carriage together, I think now that Charles is officially in the carriage, that they've changed that up. So used to be that all three of the kids were together and Catherine and Camilla were on the other side. But I think they've made that change. So hold on. We're going this way. I had to remind myself which way we were going. So I thought Charlotte, we got some good ones of Charlotte here. It's just nice to see. Although I wish the hat, I don't mind the hat, but definitely did shadow her face quite a bit. I might have been, if I was a better photographer, I might have been able to do better with that. But I thought this was kind of cool because you could kind of really see the details of her hair and the hat itself. So I thought that was kind of fun. And so then the boys right here are in the front. So they're a little bit harder to see. Like Catherine and Charlotte are just perfectly set. So I think this will be the carriage configuration we have for the foreseeable future, if you're curious. So mom and daughter are chatting. I'd love to know what they chat about in the carriages. I would just love to know that. So very sweet little interaction there. And the boys doing their best to give the royal waves. I mean, because part of why people watch royals is to watch the fashion. So unfortunately, she was looking and they were looking the other way when they came past. Sometimes what happens. So I thought this, one of the shots like this turned out to be pretty cool. So I do like that. Okay, so we have to go back the other way now. Just to get back to where we were and see in real time together, guys. Did any of my pictures of Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, actually turn out pretty well? And so there I got a picture of Anne on horseback. The consummate horsewoman that Anne is, doing a great job. And then obviously we have William here. You could tell with the beard, and then Edward behind him. So, and they come up quite quick. So we have Charles and Camilla together, and both looking our way at one point, which was nice. So Charles no longer going to do the horseback portion of this, just going to stick to the carriage. And somebody mentioned earlier Queen Camilla's, we're at the end, Queen Camilla's hat. And yeah, I would agree. I'm not a big fan of this hat. It seems kind of big. So Not a huge fan of that for sure. So that is what we got. That is what we got, guys. Let me see here real quick if I can find, because I know I'm missing a couple of pictures here, because I want to show the pictures we got of Sophie on. No, we did. Excuse me. We did get pictures of Sophie in the carriage. We did those much earlier. My apologies, guys. My apologies. So that is mostly what we have here when it comes to trooping the color this year. And so I got a couple of videos because I put the videos on top of my phone. So let's go ahead and I'll show you guys a little bit of those as well. Did I miss any? Maybe that one. Sorry, I'm a bit sniffly, everyone. Allergies, always a thing. And I'm actually honestly rather surprised Megan didn't post anything today, as far as I'm aware, on her Instagram, as that would seem very apt for her to do so. Although we do have a topless Gwyneth Paltrow cooking. Just that was the first thing that popped up on my Instagram feed because I follow Goop. And so I'm like, okay, maybe we'll see that from Megan. CCA asks, is it hot in London? It's actually pretty warm. Yeah, it's pretty warm, pretty hot, especially when you're in the metro. It can be pretty hot. Depending on like when the trains are running through, you can get kind of a breeze from the trains, but beyond that, it can be kind of stifling a little bit. So I do have like I've been wearing dresses most of the trip and that's been absolutely fabulous. So yeah, that's been really the only way to go. I can't imagine if I was wearing jeans. I would be dying in jeans. I'd be so dying in jeans. So especially running down. All right, so we're just waiting. I thought, well, I can get this little guy up too. I have so many things now plugged in. I have 3 SD cards plugged in. So allow this SD cards. So Breeze says, great pictures, Brittany. Why, thank you. Water says, Megan's fake award was canceled. It was so sad. So sad. Texas Kit Kat says, you need to make a picture book of these memories as keepsakes. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard because I want to use them for like editorial reasons and stuff like that. But it is really cool to have such a unique opportunity to kind of share something super cool. All right, let's see. I can't do that. So let's close window and see if we can pull up here real quick. So I did have the camera balanced. So I had something that attached it to basically the top of my big camera. So this is one of the videos where you can see Charles and Camilla coming by. And then Catherine. And so there's Anne, William, or maybe Edward and William up there. And so you can see, kind of the crowd thickness and stuff like that. And then there is Catherine and the kids. So they come kind of one after another. So it's kind of hard because you're so focused on getting one shot, you forget to get another shot. So you can see how short the moment is in some ways. You can see the boys. And yeah, there was an empty car. So not super exciting, but at the same time, a little bit exciting. And I think maybe this one, oh no, this is a shorter video of that. And maybe Trying to see if we had the video of Sophie going down. Because they came a couple of minutes earlier, which surprised me a little bit. So it's not popping up right away. I'll probably find it a bit later. But, oh, these are always so fun. So this is like the guys who do the 21 cannon salute. And I love listening to them as they roll by. It's just so loud. Oh, I think these are kind of cool when they roll by. It's just so fun. Okay. And then, let's see, we have everyone coming. We have at least the first group coming back. So we have Sophie and Tim. And then the Gloucesters coming up and taking up the rear here. Oh, and this is the bus. So we have, still don't know who those people are. Just think that's kind of funny. And then we do have as well, finally, let's see if this is a king and, so this is not the king yet, but I love the marching band on horseback. That's one of my favorite things. I think it's so cool. We also have Diz Fan here. Thank you so much for the super chat. Will we see photos released sometime of David being knighted by the king? Probably. I don't know what the timetable looks like, so I couldn't really tell you. But that would be very exciting. I'm sure we'll hear lots. So Ariana asked, did you hear any boos? Now, this is the interesting thing, which is that I heard boos for the Not My King protesters. So the protesters were booed. I didn't really see any of Charles, but of course I wasn't in the section where the protesters were for most of the trip. So I don't, or most of the time. So I don't know if they were booing in other ways. So that's just something good there and some happy news. So you can hear the video, but then now you can see it. So I kind of changed my camera too so it can kind of be close. I love it when they do it on the horseback. It's so cool. I can't imagine playing an instrument on the back of a horse. Like, that's just crazy to me. Just absolutely crazy. So you can see actually the men are controlling the horses with their feet. The stirrups are in their feet. They have ones, I think, up top too. Some of those instruments are rather big. Got a clarinet, it's not too bad, but if you got a tuba or something, that's not easy at all. And so we do have the final, let's say, video here of everybody coming back. So we'll skip to the front of this a little bit, and I decided to kind of zoom in a little bit. So we have Charles and Camilla. And obviously William right there. Anne and Edward. I wanted to get pictures of them this time. And then I moved to Catherine, horsewoman in the way, and then we get some of the good shots here. So you can see a lot of shots for just this little bit that probably took about 10 seconds for them to roll by, maybe a little longer. It is fun. I do not know all the trooping names and stuff like that. I could probably find it at some point, but yeah. Ooh, St. Elmo's Fire says, have you read about the new drum horse? It's interesting and good. I'll have to check that out. I will have to check that out. Todd says, thank you, Brittany. I love trooping. Well, I'm glad you love it. It is a fun thing to experience. So I do have, let's say, again, this was my camera or phone that was on top of my camera. So this did not end up being super good. But you can see where the people are. You can see their open space right there. And the balcony door is open. Some people are looking for the Flypast. And I'm like, they're coming out of them on the balcony. And then everybody's like, whoops. You can see Royal Standard flying, which is actually super cool. So everyone looking out. So Alienina says, do you think Catherine should experiment with her wardrobe and go beyond coat dresses and suits? I mean, she is branching out a bit, but yeah, it's kind of challenging. I would love it. I mean, I like her style right now. So, but yeah, okay. Sorry, guys. Oh, so that just shows that's a good example of the chaos. So I do apologize for that, but all part of the experience, everybody. All part of the experience. But yeah, I think Catherine's branching out in a good way. Could she branch out more? Probably, but could she go too crazy? Like, probably not either. So, and then you have some of these are photographers and some might be snipers. Just point that out. Sir Squirrels a lot says, thanks for everything you did, Brittany. Why, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Bunty McBunface says, I think one of the drum horses is being retired and going back to Die Fred, where he was bred. Oh, sweet horsey. Grandma Michigan gifted 5 Royal News Network memberships. Why, thank you so much, Grandma Michigan. I really do appreciate it. Coastal Angel says, Netflix will get their pound of flesh. Harkles played them. We will see. Tom Fitz says, Brittany, how many people would you estimate were there? I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. Sir Squirrel Lot says, are you going back to see the Jewel exhibition again? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. Oh, you can hear the plane. I don't know if you can see it, though. Because I paid for a membership for an entire year. I might as well go as many times. Julie says, a Royal Family released the video highlights of the day. Just beautiful. True. St. Elmo's Fire says, why aren't they waving as much? Is there a bulletin link? Who is in the parade and lineup? I'm not sure. So I'll have to look. Marcella says, amazing shot of the parade, Brittany. Love tripping the color. Why, thank you. And Tricia says, I didn't realize how shallow the balcony was until I was in London this year in Amsterdam. Saw the palace and had a shallow balcony too. Yeah, it's pretty shallow. And I got the East Wing tour and it was pretty awesome. But definitely small. Definitely small. Robin, formerly from California, says, we don't need Catherine is a classic, don't need trendy experimentation. I don't think trendy, but could Catherine do something a little different? Sure. Okay, so I attempted, this is when I was doing profile and it didn't work. So I think I started doing wide shots so you could see the planes going by and you can watch the people move. Now that is cool. That does give you a bit of chills. Won't lie. It gives you a bit of chills. Gives you a bit of chills here. And I'm on a step stool. That's why I'm so tall, if in case you're wondering. I'm on a step stool. So yes, I travel with a step stool, multiple tripods and stuff. Yeah, Princess Goose says Princess Catherine is at a tricky age. Too young to be matronly and too old to wear super stylish outfits. Yep, I agree with that. Carol says that Catherine's style reminds me of vintage glamour. It is cool. Aw, Stephanie got one of the gifted memberships, saying I really appreciate it. Oop. And I got distracted trying to do something. I missed the planes. Darn it. James Bell says, thanks, Grandma Michigan. Sandy says, from Michigan, I love the content. Thank you for filming this. You are welcome. Coastal Angel says, new PR team probably made Megan not post anything. We'll see. Marcella says, Catherine's style is classic, elegant, and beautiful. Yes. Girl said, thank you, Brittany, for reporting from the grounds of London. You're welcome. Sir Scrolla said, I watched this morning with the Sibley twins. It was fun, and they called out Brittany several times. Nancy wants to go with her. She should carry the equipment. I was like wondering, I was like, oh, maybe I should have an opportunity. It's like, somebody wants to pay their own way. You want to hold my equipment? Oh, there's the red arrows. I mean, I don't know if that'll be necessarily fun, but so, and I think we have a rendition of God Save the King. Bree says, what a lovely community this is. Why, thank you. St. Elmo's Fire says, I so prefer seeing the kids, cousins, and princesses and Zara on the balcony. I didn't even see them in the window at Horse Guards. They had a velvet banner on the balcony at Horse Guards. So I was glorious. And they go inside not too long after this. But, so you'll see me actually kind of, as they go inside, the camera goes down. So guys, this is only, they were only being something to keep in mind. They're not out there long. Oh, I have to say this video is actually looking really pretty. It's really good. It'd be nice that I can use it as B-roll sometime. So, but yeah, I miss seeing everybody too. I definitely do. Okay, so we got this, but I thought, so they're booing these guys. So I'm really glad I got that because I really wanted to get that and I totally have forgotten my camera was still on. It was attached to the top of the other camera, like craziness today. So yeah, Tam Fitz says, so happy the weather turned out to be beautiful for today. Yes, me too. Me too. CC says, great video and coverage of trooping. Thank you. You are welcome. Heather says, just love the English accent. Yes, it is pretty awesome. One of my favorite things. Now I want to see real quick here. We won't keep you guys too much longer because I know you guys probably have Saturdays and everything, but I'm just curious how this like running video turned out. And I will, of course, you could only see the camera got whacked. So, but you can get the idea if you want to see. Yeah, Carol says, isn't the Monaco trip in the autumn? It is. So it might actually be pretty warm there too. Stephanie says, hello from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Finally made another live. Thank you for sharing this. Great job. It's something not everyone will get to see. So true. Yeah. The Linda says, just so I'm watching, we'll have to go back and start from the beginning. Yes, you definitely should. Lots of cool things in there. And I will share with you guys this real quick here. But we will be muting, so you don't have to hear my heavy breathing. It is already muted. So this was me trying to make my way down to the palace. And so you see all these people here. So we started further in the back, and all these people are waiting. And you'll see some people run to the front. I guess I just did not have the feet in me at the time to do it. But you can see in some bits here, although the camera gets, I think, wound down, is that it's, well, not totally there, but it's pretty deep in some places of people. Like there's a lot of people there waiting to get in. And so we're all running, or me walking steadily down to the Royal Mile. I have a little thing I can attach to the strap of my backpack for the gimbal, but apparently got moved. So look at all these people. So they don't let these people in yet. They start from the back. So everybody, there were some people I'm sure from further back who went down to the front, and now they're having to watch all of us from the back run to the front. So yeah, you gotta think strategically. You gotta think strategically. And so there's some people who, these people were in the actual Horse Guards parade. They were in the crowds. Oh, and somebody finally opened up those gates. And so it's like, there's more people. But man, I don't know why. I just did not have the energy to run, guys. Very embarrassing. I know, but very, very cool. But it's kind of fun to see all the people as you go by. So, so as you're getting closer here, so I'm actually closer to the front. So obviously the camera's gotten all sorts of messed up. And you can see some guys with really big camera lenses too, like me. But this all here, they were like 10 people deep. There were so many people right here, and we were just walking past them. So, or I guess walking swiftly. I moved the camera a little bit. We adjusted the bag. Oh, and that guy opened up the gate early. He wasn't supposed to do that. So if you're right here, I guess you get a decent enough shot of the balcony. It says ER, so Elizabeth Regina. So we have the flags here. So, I mean, if you're right here, so this is a curve to go in, you might not get a bad shot, but you can get a bit closer. So here I am. It's actually not, so you can see all these people. Some of these people might have just come up. Some might have been later. The carriages, I think, go on the other side. So I don't know how the people in dresses and heels were doing it. Oh, and there's my kickstand. Oh, and there's some people from over there that had been let in. So I don't know quite how this works, but if you're just curious how it kind of goes when you're right before the balcony. So I went, and there was a little step here, so you could get up a little bit of where the Queen Victoria statue is. And I did do that because that gives me a little bit of height in addition to the step stool. And you kind of need that to get over the crowd. There were some tall dudes. And so I kind of maneuvered through. There's my kickstand and my tennies. Okay. So I have these, they're not orthotic tennies, but they're ones that my physical therapist recommended because I have issues with my feet. So you can see, got the monopod, and that's probably all she wrote. I don't know if it gets any better than that. Probably not. No. Chaos. All that is chaos. So anyways, guys, that is my run down to the balcony. So I don't know if anybody cares about that or not, but just some fun things to see. Carol says something to train for next time. Yes. It definitely is, though, not like the equipment is definitely very heavy. So St. Elmo's Fire says, I hope Catherine is inducted this year into the Order of the Garter. She's been there long enough. Yeah, I'm curious when they announced that because I thought they would announce it already. So, because Charles announced it April 23rd last year. But Yeah, so somebody says Baron Cameron of Chipping Norton and Baroness Bay of Maidenland. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we have any announced. So, yeah, I think that's all we got. Texas Kit Kat says, "Thank you for bringing us with you this morning. You are welcome." So, Piffing Kalk says, "Take photo of Baker Lou in your hotel entrance. Looks like you are wearing 3 rings on your right hand." So I'm wearing 2 rings. So one's a crown and one's my 7 stone eternity band from Anna Lucia. Lisa says, "How do you carry cameras and a step stool and a tripods all together?" Not well. But I have a backpack where I can put the tripod in. But yeah, I was holding the monopod. Kind of debated whether or not I should have done that, but we'll see. St. Elmo's Fire said, "You did an absolutely beautiful job, sweet lady. Thank you. You are so welcome." Alienated says, "Thank you, Brittany. It's really hard work." It is actually very hard work. I will say it's not for the faint of heart. But I mean, obviously, if you're just going to have fun and you just want your, your iPhone and stuff, you'll get I think like the videos I got of the carriages were with my iPhone. I'm sure you'll get some good pictures and stuff like that. But like it, especially because it's so far away, you really do need the big heavy duty lenses, unfortunately. So, yeah. Moan says, "Great job. Gives us a feeling of how it is when you're right there." Yeah, I tried to this time. Next time, guys, I'll try to do it better. I thought even a bit like it might be fun. I was like, well, if somebody wants to pay their own way, they can be my assistant for the day. Because I don't know if I can pay you, but if you want the fun, we could definitely try. Carol says, "Thank you, Brittany. Great content. I think from the Netherlands. Why, thank you." St. Elmo's Fire says, "I'm all over as well. Isle of Man, Wales, and Scotland." C. Cable says, "I think it's pretty ironic that you guys are tripping the colors, and in America, we have no king protests across country." So true. Marjorie says, "Thank you for braving the crowds in the balcony dash. You should upload the montage to your favorite photos." Yes, I'll work on it. Aw. Stephanie says, "Nancy Sidley really did say she'd be happy to be your assistant. So she definitely help you with the equipment. She's serious about going to to the UK. Yeah, it's well worth going. I plan my trips around big events generally. So yeah, because it sometimes although like it's one thing too where I don't want to get too comfortable and end up needing bathroom breaks. So guys, I go like pretty much the whole time I'm there without a bathroom break. Again, no water, very little food. Not the best way to do things, but it seems to work. It seems to work. But oh, I did get some good pictures, so I'm happy about that. Um, some of them, hopefully, I can maybe get up on Shutterstock. We'll see. Fern says, "Hi, Brittany. What a magnificent day in London. Was so good. Got to see all the royals. So exciting." Yes, very exciting. Carol says, "Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't." Yeah. Jenny says, "I wonder if Harry regrets depriving his children of this fairy tale life." I think honestly he does, but also he can't acknowledge it either. Naomi says, "Is there a vacancy for the Order of the Garter? Isn't it full?" So I did actually just look, and it's technically from Wikipedia, but there should be 4 slots available. And well, other kings or monarchs don't count, and the royals don't really count either. So Prince William doesn't count in the 24 members that can be available. So just interesting to know. Simple Man says, "Love your show, Brittany. Anytime I want to know something, I listen to you." Why, thank you. Lizzie says, "Thank you for everything you do, Ms. Brittany. Great job. I love the pictures." Thank you. Heather said, "Brittany, my husband gifted me a beautiful tennis bracelet, and I thought of you." That's wonderful. I hope you really, really absolutely love it. Heather JM says, what a waste of time and money for the British people. Disgraceful. You should actually go. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. That's why they do it. Heather said, love Tripping the Color and all the royal events. Yes, we have Tinnell. Adam says, thank you, Brittany. Love this. Well done. Why, thank you. P Pacific says, if you need an awesome replay of the full event and tons of excellent info and commentary details, search YouTube Sky News Tripping the Color. Alistair Bruce is go-to for years. Plus RNN. Well, hey, some of them know more about some of this stuff than I do. I'm still learning a lot about a lot of this stuff. S. Kinney says, I have a bad feet, so I appreciate you walking around and taking pictures. Great job. You're welcome. Having good shoes helps. Renee says, balcony dash should be a national sport at the UK. Yeah, it's quite crazy. Catherine with a K says, do you have any British ancestry? Quite a bit. Most of my ancestry is British. So Poppy Tools says, you did well, Brittany, darling. Please and thank you, darlings, or Brittany, darlings. Congratulations. Please and thank you. Thank you. Marcella says, get some rest, Brittany. That is the plan. Heather says, the amount of money that William, Catherine, and the kids spent on clothing, hats, and shoes would probably feed a family of 4 for years. This is such a waste of taxpayer money. Well, Heather, if your people in your country can't afford food, then that is a you problem, because that is a government problem. The royals don't have a ton to do with that. So they happen to be wealthy people, like a lot of wealthy people in your country. If you're having problems, the community is having problems with somebody getting fed, then as a community, it's your job to make sure they get fed, not Catherine Williams. It's just not. There's always going to be people wealthier than you. That's just life. So best to suck it up now, because you're just going to be immensely disappointed. So if you have issues in your community, that's what community food banks are for, with Catherine and Williams support. We also have, you can elect in different officials if you want to, because the royals don't control policy. So anyways, it's so many things to do. But yes. And Iriana says, time for you now. You did us proud. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. And Robin, formerly from California, says, and Heather Jam, they pay for their own clothes out of their own money, not taxpayer money involved. Yes, it is from the land of the Duchy of Cornwall, which they've had for centuries. And even if the monarchy was abolished, technically they should still own it, because it was theirs for centuries, like 700 plus years. So the problem is still going to be there. Like, the money is paid for, like, the security and stuff like that. Although some of it does come out from time to time. I think for state visits, the clothes can come out of government expenses, but the royals are acting as heads of state and visiting heads of state to represent the British people and the monarchy and get attention on causes that are important to the UK, the country they're visiting, lots of things. Mademoiselle Rhapsody says, good job, Brittany. Why, thank you. Sandrine says, you should try Kulog Jewelry. It's a brand that makes royal alliances for more than a century. Very beautiful. I just bought one of their necklaces this month. One more, many other Kulog. Interesting. Coastal Angel says, it's interesting that people like these events where the Harkles were there, but now they don't like them. Yeah. Princess Goose says, I would love to see Archie on the balcony and his reactions to the planes. That won't happen until he's at least 18. If ever. So Lisa says, did you see Dan Wooten? I did last time, but not this time. I think he's out of town this time. Heather said, 2 different Heathers in the chat. Cranford loves the monarchy. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Iriana says, well said, Brittany. You are welcome. Texas Kit Kat says, how many hours were you there? So my day started at, my alarm went off at 6. I got out of the hotel like at maybe 7:20. So I got to the venue around 8 o'clock, a little after 8. And so the Flypast is at 1. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So that's 5 hours. It probably took me an hour about to get home. So you're looking at about 6 hours. Not that it took me like a full hour to travel, but I took a bit of downtime. It took me time to get organized. I was trying to do different things. And so then, yeah. Renee says, have a restful rest of the day. Thanks for everything. You are welcome. Clifford says the appointment is announced on St. George's Day, which is April 23rd. It is limited to 24 people who have contributed significantly to the nation's service to the crown and great service to the monarch. Yeah. Diana says, thank you, Brittany, for going and photographing Tripping the Color. You did a great job. Also enjoy your coverage of all the royals and their fashions. And of course, the tiaras. Me too. Me too. We need to do more tiara stuff, which we will soon. P Pacific says, Brittany, I'd say the woman seen on the royal family bus is the Duke of Kent's daughter-in-law, Silviana. She is a fellow Canadian-born and married the Duke of Kent's eldest son, the Earl of St. Andrews. It definitely could be. Definitely could be them. Stephanie says, I love how real, true, and honest you are. Part of why I joined you. Thank you. You are welcome. I like being true and honest. Carrie says, it costs us to have a president, too. Yes, it does. Rosario says, thank you. Loved it. Yay. Poppy Toon says, it's fun. It's a wee hours of Sunday morning, darlings. Enjoyed the show. Congratulations. Why, thank you. Yeah, Tom Fitz says, I don't think we'll ever see Archie on the balcony. Shame on his parents. Shame. Very much so. Alienated says, rest well, Brittany. Hope you have an easy day tomorrow. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Coastal Angels says, why do people want Archie on the balcony when Harry said the institution is so bad? Well, Harry still wants his kids to be working royals. Again, with a terrible institution. It's very confusing. Hamish says, all little boys love soldiers. I bet poor little Archie would have loved being there. Yes, he would have. And he would have loved that for his birthday too. But his dad, again, way too selfish. Mary says, the pomp and circumstance helps the economy of the UK. I hope we have some celebration next year for our 250th. Yes. Princess Goose says, you're the best coming on and doing a live after your long day. You are welcome. Heather said, yes, love the tiaras. Marjorie says, enjoy tomorrow. I hope you get to Bister Village. Yeah, I'm going back again. I love Bister Village. It's awesome. Love a deal. So we'll see. Texas Kit Kat says, well, Brittany, you are welcome. Sandrine says, you'll sleep tonight because you look very tired. No offense. I am tired, and I do not take offense to looking like it. I was like, I could put more makeup on, but honestly, I'm just tired and I don't want to. Elizabeth says, beautiful photo of the capture of Louis waving, going back into the palace. Yes. So S. Kenny says, I'm glad Meghan didn't post anything. Today is for King Charles and the royals. Yes. But we will have to talk about the whole PR situation later. And I think it'd be actually interesting to talk about what the kids have missed out on because of their parents. I think that's a good thing to highlight. So guys, we will go ahead and wrap this up this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it was a little bit last minute. I hope you enjoyed it. The good pictures, the bad pictures, it's all part of the process. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. I hope to post more member content here pretty soon. We'll see how things go. And yeah. Oh, and Chris, we haven't seen you. Lovely family, lovely photos. Why, thank you so much, Chris. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this Saturday, and I shall talk to you again